In our national lead, America's drug czar opening up today about the nation's worsening drug epidemic. Today, he spoke with our Dr. Sanjay Gupta about the skyrocketing drug overdose death rate in the United States.
We have to look at this as an unacceptable number. It's unprecedented, and we must have a response that matches that historic number in terms of saving lives.
From April 2020 to April 2021, more than 100,000 Americans died of drug overdoses, and 3/4 of those were fentanyl deaths. 20-year-old Eli Weinstock is part of this devastating record. In March, he died after taking a legal, unregulated herbal drug that was, though he did not know it, laced with fentanyl. That's what we believe. His mother, Dr. Beth Weinstock, and his uncle, Democratic Congressman Ted Deutch of Florida, join us now, and under horrible circumstances, but I do admire taking a tragedy and trying to turn it into something positive. We have some people on our staff that have lost kids to cancer and are trying to be active in trying to help other future kids. So let me start with you, Dr. Weinstock. Your son, Eli, he was a sophomore here in Washington at American University when he died. Tell us a little bit about Eli and what you know of what led to the overdose.
Well, Eli was a sophomore at American, and he was doing great. He had a 3.7 GPA. He interned at the Spanish Education Development Center here in Washington, and he was on his way. He had just joined a fraternity, and the circumstances are rather unclear to us at this point. We know that he had kratom and fentanyl in his body when he died. He died suddenly in the shower one night when he was getting ready to go out with some friends. And he was a kid who would never have taken something intentionally that had fentanyl in it. He did not intend to die, just like the 70,000 approximately people who have died from synthetic opioids in the last year.
When you say he had kratom, what is that?
Kratom is an herbal supplement originally from Southeast Asia, but it can produce some opioid-like qualities. It's a calming substance. And I was unaware that Eli would have taken kratom, but it is legal in Washington, D.C.
Okay. And Congressman Deutch, clearly this issue hits close to home, but you're also a member of Congress. So what are you doing to try to reverse these horrific, terrifying overdose numbers?
Well, first of all, Jake, we're making sure that people understand that this is an emergency and that it is more likely than not closer to them than they know.
Right.
There are efforts in Congress to focus on fentanyl, the fentanyl that comes from China, comes across the border from Mexico. That's a piece of it. There's a commission that is putting together, a high-level commission with the Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary of State, and others, putting together a strategy that will come out in February. But more than anything else, it's helping people understand what's happening. There are kids who buy what they believe is prescription Xanax or Adderall, sometimes from their friends, sometimes on Snapchat, sometimes on TikTok, that can be laced and too often is laced with fentanyl, and it's deadly. The lethal dose of fentanyl can fit on the tip of a pencil, and the DEA administrator announced, when they announced the seizure of 10 million pills, every one of them deadly, that the drug, as she put it, the drug dealer is no longer on the corner. It's in your pocket. Social media companies need to do more as well.
And that's one of the things and one of the reasons why you guys are here to educate people, because there are kids, obviously Eli was one of them, who think they're taking something harmless, and it's not. One of the bills you're co-sponsoring, which is the Stop Fentanyl Act, it only has one Republican co-sponsor right now. Are people not aware of this? I mean, it's not like Republicans are in favor of fentanyl. I mean, what's going on?
Right. There's a lot that we need to do. That bill is one piece of it. Part of it is destigmatizing the opioid use, addiction, and substance abuse disorders, opioid use disorders and substance abuse disorders. But we also need to deal with harm reduction. We need kids to be educated, which is what Beth's doing, so that they're in a position. Yes, we have to pass legislation, but we also have to make available, and this is something that we're also doing through legislation, to try to make available things like fentanyl test strips so that kids are in a position to take precautions to save their lives.
Tell us about that, because I know that's important to you, Dr. Weinstock.
Yeah, so about 9 months after, I'm sorry, about 3 months, 6 months after Eli died, we started an organization called BirdieLight. And the purpose of the organization is to get in front of kids, because there's a huge knowledge gap here. Kids, from time eternal, have tried things. But what they're not realizing now is that the stuff they used to try more than likely has fentanyl in it. And when I get in front of kids, I find out that they don't know this. So for example, we went to a group of kids at American and back in Ohio where we live, and we said, how many of you know that cocaine can have fentanyl in it? And only 2 out of 3 knew that information. So 30% of kids don't know that cocaine can have fentanyl in it. And it's the same numbers for the pills that Ted mentioned, the fake Xanax, the fake Adderall, the methamphetamine, fake oxycodones. Kids don't know this, and neither do parents. So when we survey parents, their numbers are even worse. They're completely unaware that these pills that they can get from their friend in the dorm could be laced with fentanyl.
Well, hopefully those who are just watching right now are aware of this, and they can tell people too, and we will continue to try to help you guys spread the word.
Jake, I hope they'll go to the BirdieLight website.
What is it? Where is it?
BirdieLight.org.
Spell that, so-
BirdieLight.org. And Eli's name is right in the middle of it.
All right, well, God bless, and hopefully may his memory be a blessing, and hopefully some good will come from this horrible, horrible experience. Our hearts go out to you. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.